specifics. But I really like the way that they talk about in the table. They have the different culture, the type of media, the sender-receiver relationship, and then the thinking style. So if you don't understand all this other stuff, that basic material is really going to help you out to understand the gist of Ong's main points here that our author is referring to again help set up the idea that we need to understand how persuasion works in our culture, which is the mediated world, or the world of new media. So, down and dirty with some of this stuff. I know this is a little bit hard to see, but hopefully you'll be able to see it in the PowerPoint. But I've sort of teased out from the book, but also from various other resources, the gist of each, the characteristics of each of the culture. But again, you can refer to that table. So, oral culture. It's always face-to-face, because we didn't have anything else. Immediate presence of speaker and listener. I'm here. There's another human being right here. We are there. So immediate that cannot isolate communication, persuasion, speaker, message, receiver, face-to-face relationship. The grunts of today are not the grunts of yesterday. Next day. Doesn't refer to the other day. It's now. Immediate. It only means an immediate. This is oral culture, sort of. So, let's see here. Consciousness must create memory aids to recall any complex thoughts, because nothing's written down. It's all oral, right? So that's why a lot of the Homeric poems were actually poems. Cliches, they had all these different systems. And the Greek and culture was in part oral culture until folks started writing stuff down, but then again, anyway. So it's all about memory. That's why if you've taken some of my other classes, one of the lost canons is memory, because that's what they had to do back in the day. And mnemonic devices and all this type of stuff. We don't really do that anymore. We don't remember anything. Why? Because when we have Wikipedia. Because so isolated, immediate, and concrete, hard to think abstractly. So we can't think of in abstract ways. We can't create categories, because categories are, even we think that categories are pretty easy. Hammer, nail, blah, blah, blah. Tools, saw, tools. But back in the day, their mind could not grasp that. Something was just something what it was. An iPhone was just an iPhone back in the literate culture, right? Okay, so generalizations are products of our imaginations, but folks couldn't generalize back in the day. Everything is about the present in time and space. Again, grunts and just what's going on right there, that second, that right there when I am communicating with the audience, whatever. Needs a lot of repeated grunts, because you can't reread stuff that isn't written. So repetition, repetition, repetition. Audience to speaker, lot alike, because they live in the same cave or the same little city-state. My cave is your cave. If the cave is rocking, don't come knocking. Persuasion through storytelling and poetry. And stories are persuasion that provides lessons on how to live within that particular oral culture. So they refer to the Homeric epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. That's that's Homer from The Simpsons. Different Homer. So that we got oral culture, right? Certain mode of thinking. And I think more than anything else, if you go back and refer to the little table, is we got the thinking style, cannot conceive of ideas outside immediate thought and immediate experiences. So you can't even fathom that. And then, at some point, Gutenberg created the printing press. Folks are starting. We got the Egyptian hieroglyphics. I like the Bengals. Walk like an Egyptian. So literate culture, face to book, sender and receiver, author and writer can be separated because I can read a book that somebody else wrote, right? And not be there. Context is not apparent like oral culture, so not sure when and where the author wrote or write what he or she wrote. That doesn't make any sense. But can't immediately question the author like you could in literate, where I can and go back. But here you can't really do that because I guess you can scream at the book, but what you want to do. Printed words are linear. The cognition is linear. The logic is linear. It moves. We have that linear way of thinking about things. It's this, then that, then that, then that, then that. Memory devices like cliches and all the mnemonic devices become sort of out of vogue. We can have abstract thought now and funky categories that we really couldn't even think about before we had, the written word and all that type of stuff. Therefore, created because once you can have, categories, you can have all these various hierarchies, subcategories, maybe even, who has power, who doesn't have power, blah 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 blah. And persuaders use evidence, only available with abstract thought, really, to create logical, linear chains of argument, perhaps emotional appeals, and that's where a lot of this stuff, particularly from Greek post-Homer, we've got Aristotle and all those cool dudes, but particularly Aristotle set up all the ideas of rhetoric, or helped in the Greek situation or context that we will read about soon. So that's literate culture, and what they say here is linear thought, abstract thought. That's the huge, big, different way of thinking. Back before, when we just had the grunts and the media, we couldn't think about this stuff. Now, linear type of thinking, we can go from here to here to here to here, where we were last time was just like here. There was no here to here, it was just here. And then abstract thought, where hammer is just a hammer. Now a hammer can be part of a different category. If I had a hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening, all over this left hand. Okay, electronic media culture. Sort of close to literate, but a little bit different, right? So what they say here is impacted by television, obviously, but also we still have the electronic digital divide. Not everybody in the world has television, or internet access. I mean, you think it's a great privilege for you to take an online class, particularly for me. So a sense of maybe sort of a false sense of participation, though listeners and talkers or writers still are separate. We feel like we are participating, with the folks. When we're watching the Andy Griffith Show, we feel like we live in God, what's that town? Mayberry. Or we watch our favorite TV shows, so we feel like we are living on Fantasy Island. We live on the Love Boat with Isaac. So audience obviously is much larger because you can reach massive amounts of people throughout the world. Really, listeners have more control, sort of. At least we can change the channel. But we had control with literate. We could throw the book in the fire. Information is brief and decontextualized. There's lots of visual images. Yeah, infotainment. We have infotainment. That is, a lot of the news becomes much more entertainment than just giving us information. Time and space is wonky because we live in an asynchronous situation. The stuff that is produced for television was produced at a different time. It's not happening at the same time unless it's live TV or live radio back in the day. We can play with our identities because of disembodiment and being separate. I can be a woman online if I really wanted to. That would be cool. Maybe I am. We live vicariously through the Kardashians, and or desperate. I say housewares here. In Atlanta, I was in Atlanta last weekend and for a conference, and I saw a used sort of mid-century modern antique store called Desperate Housewares. That was awesome. Is there a real or is it all virtual? Is there a difference or a very nature of what's real? what's on TV and all that stuff gets all blurred. It's all funky. And then I can watch a politician on TV. My cloud is almost full. And I can feel as if she's talking to me. Hillary is talking just to me. Donald is talking just to me. Thank you, Tony. But basically, the idea here is that, particularly within the 20th century, we saw this emergence of television and radio as the main media. And we feel like we could participate with all this type of stuff, so we felt like we had vicarious experiences. There's tons of information, particularly research on soap operas and stuff like that, where people felt like they actually knew the people. They talked about people as if they were real people. And sometimes we still do that. We spend our, if you have a favorite TV show, it's like, whatever. Yeah, did you see what happened? Oh, yeah. It's just that, but it's not real. But then we try to live our lives like that, even though it's this simulacrum type stuff I'll get into at some point. And we're participating via media, not necessarily books or not necessarily face-to-face. So, and it changes the way that we, again, think about things, think about reality. And then, of course, it changes the way we persuade, right? We persuade more visually. So a new media culture, the whole notion of linearity is crazy because everything is fluid, right? I can go from this channel to this channel to this channel. I can have like 10 different tabs up and go all over the place. So I don't have to go from here, then to here, then to here. It's a circle. It's going back and forth all over the place. It's just crazy. Lots of interactivity. I can interact with people all over the place. I can sort of control stuff because I got this little mouse right here, but of course I bought the mouse because they told me I had to. And so no real time and space. That's why I'm giving this to you right now, sort of like electronic generally, but it's not like you're watching this right now. Well, you can't. I have to upload it to YouTube first, and so yeah. So we live in virtual time and space. We have change of identities and communities and families. What we think about our identity, we can alter our identities via lots of different ways. The very notion of identity has changed so much that there is one sort of common sense of true self. It's just, that's not really the case. Communities, our ideas of community has changed. The folks that live around me are not really my community. My community are my Facebook friends, right? And my family. Well, who is my family? Well, my family. I don't live with my family. I live with my wife, my dog. But to just talk to my mom, it's just amazing technology all over the place. But I'm not physically there, and we have a different sense of a family. We have urban families. We have technological families. All that stuff has changed. Facebook is a miracle. And my dog has a Facebook page. You could follow him or friend him, Finnegan, Finsky, Munsell, but he's hardly on anymore. He's sort of a sick little dog. He's not going to make it too much longer, but he's hanging in there. And then we can use hashtags it talks about to bring people together, like /on is cool, and then hashtags do rock because, again, I want you to use hashtag PERSCC16 for everything you do. The Twitter, or if you put something on Facebook, if you want to do that, or the blogs, whatever. So I'll let you read more about this, but the big. I wanted to add something here. This is from Barry Brummett from the University of Texas. So I think he adds some stuff to the idea of culture and this new media or media logic. Basically, he says because of this idea of not being linear and being very, very fluid, generally speaking, the logic is that boundaries are blurred, linearity is problematized, it helps us think outside the box, but also sometimes the inability to focus. But all sort of everything's blurred now. We used to have these set categories. Think about the movement for transgenderism. The very idea. But back in the day, that's why so many people have trouble with it because it's breaking boundaries. But we live in a world where boundaries all over the place. Everything's fluid. Speed and control. Everything's fast, and we feel like we need stuff fast.